but I know who Drake is, and I didn't know he and Kendrick had a little war going on. Anyway, it was I tried to understand. I talked to people about it to try to understand what under the hood, Shane. Tried to figure it out. Okay, that's all. That's just how I am. I have to know how things
What did
tick.
you find out? Tell us what you found out.
You really want me to tell you? Okay, here's what I
Yeah,
found
because I
out.
have no idea. I mean,
I know, I
here's
know,
the
I did.
thing.
I
I
get it.
didn't I didn't watch the Super Bowl. I watched it from afar, from like somebody's kitchen.
Yeah.
Nobody could understand anything was being said
No,
or
I know that
spoken.
was one. That was definitely one of the things that there were many things. There were many because it's hip hop, and you're not a hip hop guy, and I'm not a hip hop guy, and there's yet another level of hip hop. It's not like the old days of hip hop. You understand some hip hop. So here's what I wrote down: Under the Hood with Kendrick Lamar. I'm an old white guy just trying to understand. Okay, coming together. That was what this was about. If you saw the visuals, it was quite beautiful. The blue and red, whatever. He talked about, first of all, started out by saying, let's all be humble. Let's get humble, number one. And secondly, he talked about a lot of things, a lot of references that I didn't understand, like Serena Williams, et cetera, et cetera. He talked about colors, red and blue. What do we have today? Red and blue. Compton, you know what Compton is? That's the home of hip hop where all the great rappers came from. And there had the Crips and the Blood. You know what the Crips and Blood are, right?
Mhm.
All right.
Gangs.
Well, yeah, and they're the ultimate gangs, and their colors are red and blue. How ironic today our states are divided by red and blue. Okay, so I'm just telling you what a little bit of things, a few things I've learned, and I won't try to explain his philosophy or tell you who he is, but my friends who are so inclined to understand that stuff, maybe who are a different race, whatever, explain to me, buddy, this is another thing. This is not like your average everyday rap guy. This guy is the elite. He got 6 Grammys, Shane. I mean, I don't understand it either, but don't we have an obligation to at least be open and try to understand it, or just say, "Oh, the hell with it"?
I think you need to buy his album, buddy.
I've got it.
Oh, okay.
I got the new one coming.
There you go.
See,
There you
you just don't even care about learning, do you, Shane? Trying to refine your thoughts and learn a little bit about the world out there that you don't know exists. You just
go.
say, I
Buddy,
got my golf, I got my golf, I got my show, I
yeah.
got my gig. I don't care about all that crap.
But
That's what.
you forget my entire life was in locker rooms. So I'm very
Well,
well
you've had a
versed.
show, you've had a sheltered life. I'm trying to bring you out of that.
Yeah, I've been very well versed in rap. I'm down. There's some rap that I like. I just didn't understand anything that he said. So,
Well,
um,
I told you I didn't, and you asked me to explain. I
yeah.
did. I don't know anything, but I'm trying to learn a little bit about it. I'm not going to spend a lot of time about it, but I have friends that understand it, and they try to educate me. That's all.
All
That's all. I'm
right,
not going to lecture you or try to be an expert on Kendrick Lamar because I'm anything but that.
gotcha. All right, enough of of that.
Well,
Buddy,
when you asked me, I mean,
no, I think it's cool that you did research on it. Somebody needed to let us all know. I know a lot of people. Some people like the show. I would say majority of the people did not like the show. I don't
I would
see
say
that.
most people didn't, especially if you're white and male. And I
Well, I
saw
think a lot of white dudes like rap.
well, but this is not just everyday rap. Apparently, this is like the elite rap. And Stephen A. Smith says the greatest show in the halftime show in the history of the Super Bowl. I don't think you could find 5 people who would agree with that, but some people thought it was the greatest thing ever. So I don't know. I
Okay.
guess they saw something in it.
All right. Well, speaking of sporting events, the Mighty Gators went into Auburn,
Mhm.
Alabama,
Wow.
buddy.
Mm,
Just give me your thoughts on that. We kind of discussed it a lot yesterday
we
on the
did. We
program,
did.
but it was a very impressive game, and now you just got to put it behind you. They play tonight in Stark Vegas against a very good Mississippi State team.
Tough place to play. It sets up for a perfect upset in between the big games they got coming up. Mississippi State can bite you, the Bulldogs can. I thought they just kind of had a remarkable shooting night. I thought their defense was spectacular. The rebounding, they just when they play like that, they are the elite. I don't quite understand how the guys who wrote in these polls, and I got my friend Carlton Reese to write a good piece on that subject for Gator Bait to try to understand it. Do they watch these games? I mean, they say, well, Florida had that laid that egg in Tennessee. They did. They went in to the Neville Arena and clobbered the number one team in the nation. Didn't beat them, Shane. They had them down by 20 something at some point. Walter Clayton Jr. was spectacular. Man, what a shooter he could be. And the whole cast. I mean, they played terrific basketball. They would look like the best team in America, but apparently they weren't even the top four, according to some people.
Yeah. Brian on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel All, says, I think the Gators lose tonight. I really hope I'm wrong, but that's a tough place to play. And they
Yeah,
got a
it
good
is.
team.
Yeah.
Shelvin says to you, buddy, on Facebook Live, brought to you by
Mhm.
Mel All, halftime shows or concerts are entertainment, period. I don't want to think about it. I want to be entertained.
And that's what he said he wasn't trying to do.
Mm.
But he was entertaining. He was sending a message, whatever. And I agree with him. I wanted to be entertained too, but it is what it is. So I just spent a lot of time, but I did try to go figure out exactly, what happened. So what it was about. And I'm learning. I'm a work in progress. My wife tells me.
All right, we got a couple of texts let's get to here. That one's a baseball text, so I'll wait run that one by Sully. Chris in Cottondale says, big game tonight at Mississippi State. Being here in the Panhandle, very close to Chipola Junior College, I got to watch Chris Jans up close and personal, and he is as good as I've ever seen. His teams are tough, very detailed. Will make for a tough one tonight, especially on the road. Yeah, he's an exceptional coach. Took New Mexico State to many NCAA tournaments before he took the Mississippi State job. They got a lot of veteran guys. They got a guy named Riley Kugel who played for the Gators last year.
Yeah, I used to love Riley Kugel.
That's kind of a storyline as well. So it will be tough. The hump will be rocking tonight.
Yeah, Shane, can I just jump in? Who was that? Chris who said that?
To you about what?
The Panhandle. Where does he
Yes,
live?
Chris from Cottondale.
Okay, well, Cottondale. Okay, well, I'm in the Panhandle here. I just want to say,
maybe y'all can meet for breakfast, buddy.
We never know. Listen, I've got a little breaking news here. I'm going to teach a course in sports writing at a college in the Panhandle. All right, so I'm excited about that.
Let's see. You're going to be what is that? The one in Pensacola? No, not Pensacola. You're in Fort Walton.
No. It's a little further west. I mean, no, it's actually further east. No, it'll be up in the area. I can't say yet because it's not official, but I'm looking forward to it. I know that, and I'm going to do a little podcast called the Panhandle Podcast.
Nice.
With friends. Steve Spurrier's son-in-law lives here. I've got my good friend. I got some developing some friends in the Panhandle. It's a beautiful place up here. I'm an Ocala boy. I'll always be an Ocala boy, and I'll still go there. But I love coming here. I'm sitting by the bay, sitting by the dock of the bay, like Otis Redding, watching this beautiful day coming. So Panhandle is beautiful.
Oh, it is. Taylor on Facebook Live says, Shane, what are your thoughts on Gator football schedule next year? Another brutal schedule 2 years in a row. Look, I think it's going to be brutal every year in the SEC. The way it's set up now. It's just the life. It is what it is. Embrace it, enjoy it, and let's go have some fun and see what happens. I mean,
I think we're talking top 10 team here. I don't know. We'll see. But I think we got to win 9 games. I hope to. By the way, this is the highest. Florida's number 3 in 2 polls, tied with Duke in 1. It's the highest ranking since 2014 when they were number 1. So it's been a while. And by the way, my new favorite player, love this guy, Urban Klobuchar. Boy, what a shooter this guy is, Shane. He comes off he's 5 for 5 3-point line. Coming off the bench, what a weapon he can be,
Yeah, that was
like Lee Humphreys.
That's what they went and got him for. Been playing big time basketball. I don't know if he was considered a pro or not, but he's been playing big time basketball.
He has Slovenia. He has. By the way, just so you know, Elijah Martin, according to my basketball expert, Fran Spear, knows more about it than anybody I know. They think maybe Elijah Martin will play tonight.
I think he will play. I heard an interview with Todd Golden saying he was going to play. So I don't. That could change. They'll see how he feels in the shoot around and all that stuff. But they need him back from his. He's just a tremendous player defensively and gets after it for sure. Kanye Ron on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing. Shane, the men's golf invitational is this weekend. Are you involved as a volunteer for the tournament or respect? Well, I'm on the Gator Golf Booster Board. I was going to go out and watch them, but I will be in Mississippi for Kyle Morris's funeral and
Yeah,
services.
I'm so sorry about the loss of your friend Kyle Morris. You shedded some light for us last night on my show about Kyle. If you wouldn't mind resharing, I know you talked about it yesterday on your show, son. He was your best friend for a long time, and you beat him out for the job in 1990. And he went back to Mississippi and played baseball and football and very successful, and his family's well known. And I know you're grieving about it, but you said he'd been sick for a long time, and you
Mhm.
hate to see a person go, but you don't want to see him suffer either.
Yeah, it's he's been battling for about 10 years. Last 3 to 4 years has been tough. I don't know how he got through it, quite honestly. So it'll be a good celebration. A lot of Gator football players will be there from his freshman class. So we'll have a good time this weekend celebrating his life for
Good.
sure. Um, all right, buddy. Real quick, I want to get your thoughts. Obviously, we talk Gator basketball. We'll know
Hmm.
more. I mean, we had that 4 game stretch. This is the fourth game. A lot of people are saying hopefully go 2-2. Well, now you want to kind of get greedy and go 3-1.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
will be tough tonight.
yeah.
But I wanted to get your thoughts. You talked about the halftime show. I know you were bored with the game because it was blowout city,
Hmm.
but not all sporting events are going to be competitive. That's a fact.
And I'm not
I
asking you
mean,
to be. I
but
just don't
but
want to
but
see a
buddy, you got to look
blowout.
at it this way. The Gators blew out Auburn.
Hmm.
So we as Gator fans were excited about that game.
True,
You watched
true.
it. You think
I did,
Auburn
of
cared, or you
course.
think
Yeah.
the average person who roots for Missouri cared? No. That's kind of how I look at all sports
Mhm.
because you never know the outcome of a game.
True. That's very true. And, I mean, look, like I said, I don't think people that vote in the polls watch the game because you talk about domination. I mean, the number one team look, Florida got dominated by Tennessee. They weren't the number one team in the nation when they did. I understand you have off games and whatever. I thought they played so bad in Tennessee. You helped talk me off the ledge saying it happens, and it's true, it did. But I was so impressed. By the way, just off topic, but do you have any idea how much the Super Bowl players got for a
Yeah, the
Super
winning
Bowl?
team usually gets like 170 and the losing team about 95. Is
You
that right?
90. You're right, yeah. So, but that probably pales. They probably all got bonuses bigger than that, right?
Uh,
They're well,
well,
in
you
their
got to
contract.
remember, this is where people get confused. Not
Okay.
confused, but you got 52-man rosters,
Mm-hmm.
right? About 12 of those guys are getting paid unbelievable amount of money.
Right.
The other 40 are making minimum salary, which again, it's not the real world. It's anywhere between 300 and about $900,000.
Right.
Okay. So those guys are really excited about those
Yeah, sure
playoff
they are.
picks.
Yes, you're a good point. Yes,
I'll
that's
never
right.
forget a couple of teams I was on where guys were making this is shoot, I retired in '06. So this would have been in the late '90s on a couple of teams I went to the playoffs with. I remember some guys that were making like $3 million, our stars. They didn't care if we made the playoffs or not because they're getting a huge pay cut.
Mm.
But for guys like us that were minimum salary, we wanted that
Yeah.
extra check.
Yeah, of course. Yes.
So, but it's you can make a lot of money through the going through the Super Bowl every year
That's a good
for the
point.
guys that don't, have the big
Mhm.
contracts.
So, you know how we don't get through the program without talking about golf today because there's a lot to talk about.
What do you want to talk about with golf?
Well,
Go
the
ahead.
LIV, there's talk now. One of the most respected writers out there, Alan Shipnuck, says he thinks they're getting ready to make a deal between the LIV and the PGA Tour. And that would be amazing if it happened. You're hearing that. I mean, I don't know. The other thing is, it's great to see Jordan Spieth back. I think it's his second tournament after his wrist surgery. He's in contention. He's playing well. Golf needs Jordan Spieth right now. And Scotty Scheffler as well back. He's playing well. He just got started too late. He could have won that thing. So those two guys need to be in contention to help golf. I appreciate all the other guys who are filling in the blanks, but you need your mega stars like that to be able to be up there on the board in contention, don't you? And by the way, speaking of mega stars, RIP to Tiger Woods, who lost his mom, Katia. He had to withdraw from the Genesis this week.
Yeah, that tournament is being held at Torrey Pines due to
Beautiful place.
fires. But yeah, they played there 2 weeks ago, and
Yeah, it's
a lot of
gorgeous.
guys weren't real happy about going back. Kevin on the Titan MR text line says, "Is Buddy living on the Gulf of America?"
Yeah, I'm actually living on San Andreas Bay, and it's associated with the Gulf of America, which used to be called Mexico. But I look outside right there. One day I get my cameras hooked up. It's a beautiful place. Have you ever been to San Andreas Bay?
I've been to a lot of, I don't know all the names of those places,
Yeah,
there, Buddy,
yeah.
but I used to frequent the Panhandle quite a bit
Did
back.
you go down to Rosemary Beach where all the big dogs go, the Peyton
That I
Mannings?
like it there because it's not real crowded.
Yeah, because it's all rich people.
Yeah, the Pouncey twins provide all the Gator Nation with the highest quality liqueurs made by J.F. Hayden Craft Liqueurs. Find your favorite flavors at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. We got Buddy Martin here on the Titan MR hotline. Courtesy of Comfort Tent, we'll have the head ball coach, Kevin O'Sullivan, talk a little baseball. They kicked off
Elite, elite,
first
elite.
first pitch. I think they're ranked like 10th in America right now. But he's done a phenomenal job in this is year 18 for him, by the way. This day in
Wow.
sports, Buddy, brought to you by Campus USA Credit
Mhm.
Union. Put some star power to work in your financial life. Campus USA Credit Union. 1966, San Francisco Giants outfielder Willie Mays signs the highest contract. What do you think he was making the highest paid player in baseball in 1966? What did he sign for?
I don't remember that. I just remember when Ted Williams got 100,000 and Measer got 100,000. Let's say Willie Mays in '66 got 300,000.
$130,000 a
Oh
year.
boy, I know it's low. Yeah, I
That's
know.
this day in sports brought to you by
First,
Campus USA Credit
you could
Union.
buy a car for $5,000 though too. So
Yeah. Andy's question for you, buddy, how Nick Sirianni have a coaching tree now and Mike Tomlin does not?
well, it's a good question. I mean, Nick Sirianni's done an amazing job.
Hmm.
He's had 3 different years of coordinators. Um, I knew Mike Tomlin's dad. I got to know, he's from Ocala. His dad is, and I spent time with his dad. Tomlin's a really smart guy. He's really smart. His goal in life, his father told me, was not to, it was to be the first black coach to make $10 million. And when he was small, his biggest goal was to read 50 classics. He's a big reader, loves to read. I don't know what it is. He's disconnected. He'd have been fired by anybody else but the Roonies, and he's got a thing there. I don't know. I guess he's not been successful enough. I would say, but he's the flavor of the month, man, of the year. He did an amazing job. I give him all credit in the world. He took down the Chiefs, the dynasty, man. So yeah, he's got a coaching tree.
Yeah, he's done a really good job, no question about it. And they're not going anywhere because they are a very young football team.
Yeah.
Reggie's question on Facebook Live: Who will replace Mary Wise? Any news? I have not heard anything.
I don't know. I wouldn't know who to say. Would you?
I don't know if maybe her assistant. The only thing I can think of.
Would
I can't
think
think of
enter.
his.
I
I
mean,
can't think of his name. He's been
you
with her
don't
for a long
replace
time.
Mary Wise, by the way. You don't replace her. Who will succeed her? You'll never
Well, it's
replace
one of
her.
those deals where whoever the next coach is may
Yeah.
want to wait and be the next guy.
Yeah, exactly. I think should be something on campus. I don't know what. I don't know if it's going to be a statue, a plaque, or something, but certainly at the O-Dome, boy, she has been such a spectacular person and coach. And she got to that point where she said, time to step down, and she's just stepped away. So she was beloved and she was good. And I think we looked it up, didn't we? Though, didn't she come here the year after Spurrier arrived?
I
Right,
think so.
91? Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
right
so.
around there. Yep.
Well, you were there, Shane. You were playing then.
I know. I don't remember, buddy. That was a long time ago.
Well, hey, don't use that excuse.
Well, it
If I
was.
said that, everything's a long time ago to me.
Yeah.
So
I only remember a few things here and there. Text here on the Titan MR text line from James. He says, has Steve Spurrier Jr. been hired by Billy yet? I don't think so. Buddy, do you know? I don't think that's going to happen.
I think it is.
You do?
I think it is. I think it's been out there more than a rumor. I think the timing is look, they just hired a whole front office this week.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the people they hired, these people. and he would be hired not as a coach, he'd be hired as an analyst. So I don't have any inside information with Coach Spurrier. I do know the Bubba's in Gainesville these days, hanging out. You
Well,
probably see him.
he lives here now.
Right.
Yeah.
And I hope they do. I think out of professional courtesy, if nothing else, Bubba deserves it, and I would love to see him there. But if I was a betting man today, I would say yes, but I don't have any information on it.
Okay. Reggie's giving us some scoop on volleyball. Says the talks are possibly Dan Fisher from Pitt. I don't know anything about volleyball, I'll be honest.
Well, we got to get a volleyball expert on here. Who can we get?
Well, we had Tom Collette on when they were making their run, but
Tom's good. He knows a lot about it. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what Planet Gator. He says he can be hired as a coach. I'm not sure who he's referring to. But all right,
Spurrier,
buddy.
probably Spurrier, don't you think?
He cannot be a coach. They already have all their coaches.
Right. No, he would be an analyst.
He'd be an analyst if they were to hire him.
Yeah, and that pays pretty good, by the way, these days.
Yeah. I don't know if it's going to happen, though.
Well, you're talking like you know something.
Well, there was a lot of chatter about it several weeks ago, and nothing has happened. And I don't know. I would say this. He would rather be a coach somewhere than an analyst.
Okay.
I do.
So if he gets a job coaching somewhere, he would take
Yeah,
that.
but it's kind of late now. I mean, it's late in the year when it comes to it. I mean, they're gonna be starting spring ball here in a couple of weeks.
Well, do the analysts have to be there right off the bat when spring ball starts? I don't know. I don't know.
I would love for them to hire Bubba. I hope they do.
Well, you know more than I do because I
don't know anything, but I'm just saying I do know he wants to be a coach. He wants to continue coach. He's young. He's like my age or a year younger. So he's too young to go be a real estate agent.
Well, hey, listen, it worked out well for some people. Here's the thing. Someone really in the know, not with the Spurrier family, and not on the program, told me a couple of weeks ago what was going to happen.
Yeah.
And he's a guy who I respect a lot. I went online with it and said he said thought it'd be a matter of days. And so 2 days later, I just put a tweet out there saying it's good news. I heard Steve Jr. is coming to Florida, and then nothing happened, and no one wanted to own it. So I don't know what happened. I have no idea. I wish you the best. I hope I didn't cause any problems when I posted.
I don't think you had anything to do with it, buddy. And I hope it works out. I want him there for sure. Planet Gator on YouTube says there is no limit on coaches anymore. There is. You can coach, but you can only have 10 official coaches.
Yeah, staffers.
The analysts, you can have a million analysts who can actually coach in today's world.
Yeah.
But you can only have 10 listed coaches.
Yeah. Billy seems like he's got it buttoned up a little bit, I think, don't you? I think he kind of gets. Yeah, I think he knows what he wants. I love that he didn't back off the deal about calling the plays. I think he needed to say that, and you said it for 2 years.
Yeah, I mean,
that's how he made his name. That's what brought him here. And he ain't going to give it up to some guy from Kokomo to come in and call plays with his quarterback. He's been grooming for this moment. So, of course, he's going to call plays.
Yeah. All right. Well, buddy, who you got on the program tonight?
Well, it's Lauren Meadows tonight. He's coaching them up. He'll have the team on the Tuesday team. Brendan Martin will be joining him for a bit. And other guys who are on the cast of thousands on Tuesday night. So I'll tune in. I'll pop in and check it out. 9:00 Eastern time. Check it out. Gator Bait will be presenting his finest hour for you, folks. Come join us on the program.
Buddy, you going to go swim in the Gulf of America today?
I could swim in the Gulf of America right out here. I could just dive off my porch, and I couldn't quite dive it, could I, honey? I'd have to kind of go out a little bit. I'm literally 100 feet from the bay, and I wake up in the morning, I raise up my blinds and say, beautiful day on the bay, and it is. I'm going to start showing it when I'm getting my camera set up.
Yeah, our last thing, Andy goes, how does Auburn remain number one after losing at home?
Well, that's my point. That's what I don't.
It doesn't matter, though. I mean,
what does matter?
No, because if you're like in the top 5, you're probably going to be you have a very good chance to be one of the 1 seeds. That's all that matters. A 1 or 2 seed. That's all you care about.
Well, see, what are we playing for here then? Well, who cares? Why we even
Well,
have
no,
ranked?
I just said if you're in the top five, you have a chance to be one of the 1 or 2 seeds. If you're number 10, you ain't got a chance.
Shane, do you know anything about Jerry Palm or the bracketologist and all that crap and how they get this information? What's a quad two, quad one, all that
It
stuff?
depends on, well, that's all about the opponent you're playing.
I know, but I mean, it's so, I call it racketology because it's racket, not bracket. And these guys I don't get it. They put a language up there and they have a system they only understand. And you don't get to number one by being number one team like Florida beat Auburn. I don't know. It's a
Yeah.
world I'm not familiar with, Shane. I'm of the world like you beat them, you're best. That's all. That's how you did it.
Yeah. Um, all right. Barone says, QB, what countries outside the US have you played golf in? Did you take your clubs or rent them? No, I always take my clubs. It's a pain in the butt. I've been in the Bahamas. I've been in Scotland, uh,
Ireland, you played in Ireland?
Maryland. Yeah. So that's the only places I've been.
Played Mississippi. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's a different country.
Different country. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So it's going to be fun to see if they can do it in the hump tonight. Following basketball, can't wait to spring football. And you got baseball. Ask Sully if he's got room on his lineup on his roster for a veteran right-hander who's still got a 70-mile-an-hour fastball. Okay, I'm
You
telling him
got
I
it.
got a letter and I can come out. I can come play for him. All right. See
All
if he's
right.
interested. Huh?
That's all right. Well,
You're not taking me serious, Shane. I can tell when I say that.
all right, buddy. Have a good
Come
day
back. All
swimming
right,
in the
Shane.
Gulf of America. That's Buddy Martin
Thank
joining us
you.
on the Titan Number Hotline courtesy
Thank
of
you.
Comfort Temp. We're going to take a quick time out. We're going to come back. We'll be joined by Kevin O'Sullivan, head baseball coach, University of Florida. You're watching and listening to PodUp with Matthews and
Elite.
from
Damn.
the International Diamond Center studios. We'll be right back.
Our premium sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union,
International Diamond Center.
Meldon Law, QC Kinetics, Dave and Buster's, UF Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute, JF Hayden Craft Liqueurs, Florida Cracker Kitchen, Los Linderos Tequila. Gridiron sponsors are Baker Sporting Goods, Cogent Bank, Comfort Temp, Electronics World, Florida Victorious, Gallo Car Wash, Miapa Latin Cafe, Peachland Dental, Quality Plumbing, Ruse Ogre State Farm, Silverback Concrete, 84 Lumber, Big Mills Cheesesteak, Celebrate Primary Care, Dowling Signs, Gator Bait Media, Gator Dominoes, Ironwood Golf Course, Okido America, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, UF Bookstores, Nest and Wow, MG and A Wealth Management. Watch and listen to us live on Facebook and YouTube. Listen to Call My Man Freddie at 352-284-3733.
Hi there, this is Coach Steve Spurrier, and I want to let you know that by popular demand, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill's delicious brunch is now served in a premium buffet. You have spoken, we have listened, and we're now serving Gainesville's only elevated buffet complete with an omelet station, ginger sage chicken sausage, shredded short rib, and of course our chicken and waffles. Plus, you can enjoy bottomless mimosas and Bloody Marys. So join us every Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 3 for the best brunch in town.
I'm tired of you living in pain, and I want you to get real lasting relief from chronic pain in your knees, back, shoulders, and hips. QC Kinetics can get you moving again with cutting-edge regenerative treatments with no drugs, no downtime, and no surgery. Stop putting it off. Call now and schedule your free consultation. Call QC Kinetics now in Gainesville, Ocala, and the Villages. 352-400-4550. 352-400-4550.
Welcome back to the International Diamond Center studios. Ruse Ogre State Farm Office, a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visit ogreinsurance.com. Give them a call at 352-240-1779. Back to the Titan MR hotline, courtesy of Comfort Tent. We're joined by the head baseball coach, Kevin O'Sullivan. Coach, it's your 18th year, man. You're getting old.
Trust me, my body tells me every morning.
Appreciate you taking the time to join us. Fill us in. Let's start first with the transfers that the Gator fans may not be familiar with. Some of the transfers that will be inserted into the starting lineup.
Yeah, I think it probably starts with Kyle Jones, center fielder from Stetson, who's a freshman All-American last year. We had the opportunity to watch, obviously watch him play last year because we played Stetson a couple times, and when he entered the portal, it was pretty easy decision to pursue him. We got one of the better hitters down from Miami, Blake Sear, who will play, one of the corner outfield positions. We've got Bobby Bozer from South Florida, who is their 3-hole hitter. So it's like we went out and I think we got some of the better players from other schools in the state. And I think the advantage that we had maybe over some other people when the portal does open up is we had a chance to lay eyes on these players ourselves when we played against them.
We got a text here on the Titan Mart text line from Robert in Montgomery, Alabama. Before we jump into, I'm going to ask you this question because I wanted to ask it as well. He says, are you focusing more now recruiting high school kids or the transfer portal?
It's a good question. I know there's been a big shift in recruiting going towards the portal. We have not quite done that yet, although this past year, this was the most active we were in the portal. But quite honestly, you can only be as active in the portal as how many as many resources that you have to go into the portal. So you're competing not just for scholarships, but you're competing for NIL situations and those types of things. So we're very fortunate this year to be somewhat competitive, and like you said, this is our 18th year, and we've always won with the high-end high school player. And I know it's getting more challenging. I think we learned a lot from last year's team, very young, but very talented, but it took that group a good part of the season to kind of figure it out. And we were competing against other teams with lineups that are 22, 23, 24 years old. So there is a shift in recruiting, but I never want to shy away from the high-end high school player because that's kind of what we've been able to do and sustain our success over the years. But you do have to adapt with the portal for sure.
I want to say, didn't I read, I should know this, I guess, didn't they limit your roster size? Did that start this year or is that in the future?
That's in the future. That's going to start, I believe. It seems, honestly, Shane, it seems like we're getting new rules just about every week.
Right.
Yeah, and that's really no exaggeration. So I believe what we're going to be able to have is 38 players in the fall. Excuse me. And then we'll have to get down to 34 by December 1st. So the flexibility with the extra 4 players in the fall allows you that if you do have a few injuries in the fall that you can replace those players, but we're going to have to be at 34 come December 1st for next spring. The difficult part is, it's one thing to move around scholarship money because we've always dealt with 11.7, and that's another topic that's going to change. But you can move scholarship stuff around, you can maneuver this or that. But when you're talking about, young men and having to have these tough conversations with them that you have to move on for another opportunity because we have to be at 34 rather than the 40 that we're on now. And that may not seem like a lot of movement, but in 1 year to go from 40 to 34 without having a whole lot of time to adjust to those numbers, there's a lot of hard conversations that need to be had. So we're in the midst of this thing, and obviously we haven't been really had a chance to really dive into that. That'll be something at the end of at the end of the season during the summer as we're trying to put our roster together, and after we get through the draft in July and the portal. But these are serious issues that are going to impact a lot of teams, especially in the SEC, moving forward.
Yeah. Some of your returners, obviously, a lot of people are familiar with Colby Shelton, Ty Evans, Cade Curlin, Luke Heyman. Just talk about their leadership coming back. They've experienced going to Omaha maybe once, at least twice. Just their leadership that they've brought this spring and what you expect out of those veteran-type players.
Yeah, that's another good question, Shane. So when we were going through this portal process, we had never really lost many players in the recruiting process, especially if the kid was from Florida. Once the portal changed, 3 years ago or so, you started seeing a trend that we were losing out on players that were going to other places, which traditionally had not happened. So obviously everybody's dealing with a different NIL situation and the amount of resources that they have. So we lost out on a couple more kids this summer. And I remember we were up in Cooperstown for a baseball tournament, and I was talking to Kobe Shelton and Ty Evans. I had a good feeling that Luke would come back because he was sophomore eligible, but still didn't know. And then obviously Pierce Capola. Those are the four. So we kind of repivoted like right at that point. It was right around July 4th. And I just made a decision that we were going to put all of our eggs in those four players' baskets, so to speak. And hopefully they would, turn down the draft, come back for another year. And I started getting that indication that they would come back. And that kind of changed our whole dynamic of our team in terms of leadership. So you get back four players like that, that just changes your whole dynamic. And then, like you said, we've been to Omaha in many instances twice, if not just once, but twice. So they got the experience of being out there. And we got some talent. So all three of those boxes kind of check. So we'll see how it all turns out. But certainly getting those four players back was a game changer for us. And luckily enough for us, we gambled, and it turned out to be the best decision that we could have made during the summer.
Yeah, when you look at your ball club, obviously going into year 18, you've always looked at some teams and said, man, I really like this team. We got a chance to go a long ways. And then, boom, you get upset or what have you. Then you got some teams that may not be as talented, and you go to Omaha. When you look at this roster, is it a good mix? Is it a versatile group? How do you like this group?
I do like this group, but like I said it last week, I mean, you've seen this before the first football game is played, or the first baseball game is played, or the first basketball game is played. Everybody feels good about their team. No one's gone through any adversity. Everybody's undefeated. Everybody's feeling good. It's really when you go through that first taste of, man, that was a tough weekend. Now we got to regroup, right? So, but I think with this group, I think we are a bit more versatile, and that was the emphasis on the recruiting in the portal, was to be able to score runs in different ways. And in order to win in the SEC, in terms of baseball, you need to have power arms and power bats. But unfortunately, when you get out to Omaha, the field plays so big that if you catch the wind on the wrong night and it's blowing in from center 15 miles an hour, that could really stifle your offense. But in order to get there, you have to win a certain way. So I think we put an emphasis on being able to play some small ball if we need to, cut down on the strikeouts, put the ball in play more, and get some pitchers or hopefully develop our pitchers to be better strike throwers. So I think we've done that. I do like this club, but, you look at the schedule and it's like, I obviously follow all the other sports and every schedule is so daunting. It's like you're looking at it and there's no breathing room in the SEC. And obviously now with Texas and Oklahoma, it even gets even more difficult. So I think you got to be, cautiously optimistic about, the prospects of how we're going to play. But at the same time, when you've been, in one place for 18 years, like I've been fortunate to be, there's going to be some stretches where you're going to have to pull some rabbits out of your hat a little bit and remotivate your team and keep them going in a direction and be able to move on from a tough weekend or a tough stretch. And inevitably, when you go through it enough as I have, or people that have been fortunate enough to be in this profession for this long, you kind of already know this is going to happen. So it's not really a surprise. Now it's going to be a surprise to your team and to your players, but having gone through it as a coach, you kind of anticipate it, and then you kind of deal with it, and you learn from the good things that you did in the past as a coach and some things that you may not have done as well as you would like. And hopefully at this point in my career that, we could, motivate our players and get them back on track, as quickly as possible.
Florida Victorious, proud NIL partner of the Florida Gators, joined today to help make Florida victorious. We got Coach O'Sullivan for a few more minutes here. TJ on the Titan MR hotline from Orlando wants to know, Coach, can you talk about your rotation and the bullpen this year?
Yeah. So right now, Liam Peterson will start opening night. I think he's earned that, and he was our Friday night guy last year as a freshman. Obviously had some really good moments and had some freshman moments, and that was totally understandable, and we knew going into it. But we made a conscious decision that He's our most talented pitcher. It's almost like having a guy like DJ Lagway. When do you insert him, right? And obviously Graham got injured and they were put in that position, but we really weren't put in that position. And hopefully the learning experience he had last year, both positive and negative, will make him, a bona fide number one in our league. And then we've got, obviously Jake Clemente and Pierce Capola. So that's how we'll start. Now, obviously, it's very fluid at this time of the year, so you could look up in 3 weeks and it looks a little bit different. But for right now, that's what we'll do at opening weekend, and then the bullpen's interesting. We've had some guys make some huge jumps from their freshman year. I know Alex Philpott's been getting some attention, and we got Billy Barlow from Clemson out of the portal. We've got Luke McNeely back. We've got a lot of key pieces. I think the one name that people are not going to know about is we have a freshman from Jacksonville named Aiden King, who's super, super talented. And he's one of those swing guys. You don't know what to do. He's only a freshman, but he could probably start in this league. I mean, he's that talented, and he's got the makeup and maturity to do it. Do we use him at the back end of the bullpen? We'll see how that looks. So we've got some Frankie Menendez has come on, a left-hander from Miami from year one to year two. We've thrown the ball in the preseason. The first 2 weeks wasn't real special, but the last 10 days to 2 weeks, it's been pretty darn good in terms of strikes. So I'm probably leaving some names out, but I think our pitching is certainly going to be more improved than last year.
All right, I got to ask you this, Coach, because I know this was a big talk last year because we lost a bunch of midweek games, and fans get upset about that. But when Bethune-Cookman comes in here or whatever, they throw their ace, and you're throwing a young kid just trying to figure out if he can play at this level or not. Are you changing your approach to the midweek games at all this year?
Yeah, it's not like we changed it last year. I mean, if I could say what I wanted to say about midweek games last year, I would have. But you're trying to protect your players. But the problem it's really twofold. When your starters aren't doing their job on the weekend, and you've got to go to the bullpen in the fifth inning on a Friday, well, that taxes your bullpen on Saturday, and then ultimately taxes your bullpen on Sunday. So when you line up on a Tuesday, and all the other teams in our state are good, we had played the number one strength of schedule, and you're throwing four freshmen, in a midweek game, it can get out of hand in a hurry, and sometimes it did. But our goal last year had never changed, but certainly, we've got to do a better job with the midweek games. But a lot of that has to do with youth, and I'm not making excuses, but, they needed to go through those growing pains. And to be quite honest with you, last year was one of the most enjoyable seasons I've ever had. It was frustrating, extremely frustrating at times. But at the end of the day, there's 8 teams, almost 300 teams around the country that are trying to get to Omaha. And the reason why we struggled in the midweek games was our freshman pitchers. But you look up at the end of the year, and we're playing on the road at Oklahoma State, who was extremely talented. You got Frankie Menendez and Jake Clemente pitching Game 7 of a regional and beating Oklahoma State on the road. And then you got Luke McNeely getting the win against Clemson in the deciding game to get us to Omaha. I mean, so the very reasons why everybody was so frustrated throughout the year with the freshman arms, they really were huge contributors at the end. So when you look at it, the big picture, I mean, they stayed the course, they persevered, they got better, and they got better at the right time. And I can't stress enough how difficult it is, to get to the World Series. I mean, there's 300 teams. There's so much parity. I mean, you look at, to get to the college football, to be one of the top 12 teams, it's hard. You get to the Final Four in basketball, it's hard. You get to the college, the Women's Softball World Series in Oklahoma City, it's hard. I mean, it's not easy to do. So for us to overcome everything and get to a point and go on the road and have to win 2 out of 3 at Georgia, and then go to Hoover, then Oklahoma State, and then Clemson, and do all this on the road, man, when you look at the big picture, it was really satisfying.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Last year was so much fun. I don't know if I've ever asked you this, but I'm pretty sure you call the pitches, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever coached and let somebody else call the pitches?
Well, I've started. It's a good question too, Shane. I started doing that a little bit with David in the fall and in the early spring. For me, I was so used to, for so many years, I called all the offensive plays and all the pitches. So I would leave a game. I probably did that the first 10, 12 years I was here. But you'd leave a game and it'd be like you were the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, and calling every play. I mean, you're mentally exhausted.
Mhm.
So I've had to adapt. And bringing David on board, David Kopp, I'm referring to, but he's been invaluable. The game has changed. There's a lot of analytics to this thing now. It's more video oriented, spin rates, and all these types of things. So I've kind of let him go a little bit. And last year we kind of did this a little bit more. We'll just conversate during the game, And really, at the end of the day, I think you can get caught up in pitch calling and that type of thing. It's really the execution of the pitch. I mean, you can second guess, well, we should have thrown a breaking ball here or a fastball here or whatever. But at the end of the day, if it's not located and not put in a good spot, then it really doesn't matter. So, yeah, to answer your question, to go back to it, not to get long-winded, but yeah, I've started to trust David a little bit more. We'll see how the season goes, but we'll certainly work together on this thing.
Good stuff. Russell has a question here. This is interesting on YouTube, brought to you by Quad Plum. He says, Coach, who would have more success? Women hitting against a baseball or the men hitting against the softball pitchers?
That's not fair. That's not a fair question. I think my first year here, they had put together some sort of fundraiser over at softball. And I forget who she was, but she was an All-American pitcher, and they wanted me to hit against her. And there's two things that happened. She threw me a changeup. I swung right out of her hand. The ball wasn't even halfway to home. The second one, I think I fouled off the ball off my shin, and I had a bruise probably for about 2 months. So I can't really answer that question. I think hitting a softball or hitting a baseball is extremely difficult, either way you look at it. So I hate to be on the 50-yard line with their question, but they're both difficult. That's for sure.
No doubt about it. Coach, appreciate you taking the time. Good luck. It's a long season, but it's going to be fun, and hang in there. And we expect a good year, my man.
You got it. Look forward to seeing you out there, Shane.
Yes, sir. That's Coach Kevin O'Sullivan joining us on the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort 10. Florida Cracker is the brand for original Floridians, great food, and Southern hospitality in the center of the universe, Brooksville, Florida. FloridaCracker.com. We had a bunch of questions here. Sorry I couldn't get to all of them. We only had Coach for a short period of time. We appreciate him taking the time, but boy, he's done a tremendous job in 18 years, and they have a chance to have he's very excited off the record. He's very excited about this baseball team. I do know that. They got a lot of different pieces. And he talked about, they've relied on the 3-run homers so much lately. I was talking to him, a lot of these new guys, these transfers that from JU and Stetson, these guys are really fast players. They can lay down bunts for base hits.